The last Russian goods store in Songjiang, Shanghai is closing down. My brother owns it, and he invested over $1,000,000. He had 3 stores in total, and all of them are now closed. This is the last one. For the final 3 days, there's a buy one, get 2 free deal. It's really sad. This store is the Feiheng Plaza in Songjiang, and the owner had a few words to say. He said, "Am I like a dog?"
The blogger said the owner has given up because he can't sell all the goods and there's no place to dispose of them. The rent has already expired and there's only 3 days left. He's asking everyone to come to buy the stock.
This Russian goods store, worth nearly $1,000,000 in investment, only lasted 7 months. Today, it officially announced its closure. Now, there's a massive clearance sale on the stock. For example, Russian flavored chocolate, which was originally 40 yuan per box, is now only 9.9 yuan for 3 boxes.
This year, many Russian goods stores across China have been shutting down. Consumers from cities like Changsha, Chengdu, Hangzhou, Guangzhou, Chongqing, and Suzhou have reported that Russian goods stores near them have been closing one after another. Some of the remaining stores barely make 2,000 yuan a day in sales. A consumer from Changsha described, "When the store opened last December, it was so crowded you could hardly turn around. There were long lines at the checkout, and it would take at least half an hour to pay. But after the Chinese New Year, the number of customers started decreasing noticeably. By March, the store was nearly empty. I passed by last week and saw that it had already shut down." According to a July 22nd report, Russian goods stores in China have gone from being popular to struggling within a few months. Most of these stores lasted less than 6 months, and some even closed within 3 months. Even the stores that are still open are in a tough spot and close to shutting down. Many Russian goods stores are offering heavy discounts, like 30% off everything, clearance sales, and selling at a loss. Some staff members have revealed, "Business is not as good as before. On a hot day, we barely make 1 or 2,000 yuan in sales." One store owner in Anhui said, "We barely make 2,000 yuan a day. When you factor in staff wages, utilities, and rent, we're losing money. The hype is over, and the customer flow has dropped sharply. Right now, we're doing buy one, get one free deals, but it's hard to sell anything. I won't be restocking after this. Luckily, I don't have much inventory left, so once it's sold out, I'll switch to a different business." Russian goods stores are often marked with a bear logo, blue and white colors. They carry Russian products. These stores weren't only in first and second tier cities like Shanghai, Hangzhou, Chengdu, and Shenzhen, but were also expanding rapidly in county-level areas. The main selling point of these stores was authentic imported Russian goods, such as snacks, bread and cookies, dairy products, nesting dolls, and household items. However, earlier this year, a flood of negative discussions online about counterfeit Russian products emerged. Russia absolutely doesn't have this. These are all fake. The Russian embassy in China has addressed the issue, stating that some stores are using Russian products as a disguise to sell counterfeit goods or products that aren't even made in Russia. These products often fail to meet quality standards and are different from similar products produced in Russia, yet the packaging uses Russian language to mimic authentic Russian goods. A netizen from Hangzhou said, "The owner of the store behind me lost 2 million yuan. I thought this type of business would never succeed, but actually, just a few months ago, Russian goods stores were popping up everywhere, from top-tier cities like Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, to county and township areas. Here, within a 1-kilometer radius, there are 3 stores. Many even set up a stall on pedestrian streets, just bringing in stock and selling it, making it feel like they could run away at any moment." This store is located at Wuling Night Market in Hangzhou, right next to Westlake, with huge foot traffic. The rent must be sky high. Just for this ad space, I estimate it costs at least several 100,000 yuan a year. Now the sign in front says, "Everything on sale, 40% off," but there are still more staff than customers inside. I visited a few times because I was curious, but I never bought anything. First of all, I don't recognize any of these products, so I have no desire to buy them. Also, many stores try to create a Russian atmosphere with packaging in Russian and the Matryoshka dolls, but in reality, most products come from places like Heilongjiang and Fujian. Some stores even claim to be Russian national pavilions or sell original imports, but they're just private label goods. The blogger explained the reasons behind the collapse of this business model. First, at the end of 2024, Shanghai and Hangzhou launched inspections, requiring stores to clearly mark the origins of the products and display them in separate sections. As a result, some stores were forced to change their signs or even close down. Second, Russia's light industry capacity is very limited. In reality, Russian products only make up less than 30% of the imported goods sold in China, while the rest are private label products manufactured in China or Central Asia. So, how could so many stores be selling imported goods when Russia simply doesn't have the capacity to produce these items? Third, the competition became too fierce. With so many stores opening, lacking any real business planning, it's clear that such a boom wouldn't last. Most customers came for the novelty. Many even admitted they don't even know what they're buying, which meant there was little chance of repeat business. Another netizen shared their thoughts on why the Russian goods stores were so popular at first. First, in recent years, the domestic economic and business environment has worsened, with foreign trade stagnant and domestic demand weak. Some venture capitalists were eager to find new business opportunities. Until the end of last year, the Chinese government's public stance was to fully support Russia, and some local governments might have secretly encouraged this support. Some businesses saw this as a policy direction and quickly opened many chain stores. Second, the initial investment, local government support, and media hype played a big role. They leveraged the ongoing fallout from the Russia-Ukraine war and used public sentiment and curiosity to conduct deceptive marketing. Many products from northeast China were also sold under the guise of Russian goods. Furthermore, the Russian government actively supported and promoted this effort, setting up export centers to showcase various products, labeling stores as official distributors. The sharp depreciation of the ruble also made some businesses believe there was profit to be made, leading to a rush to join the trend. This created a frenzy, with many people seeing it as a rare business opportunity. Netizens also explained why these stores collapsed so quickly, citing several fatal reasons. First, Russian products were not suitable for Chinese consumers, and their quality was poor. For example, Russian chocolates were too sweet, and vodka had a strong alcohol taste. Additionally, many counterfeit products from northeast China and Fujian were mixed in, further undermining the quality. These stores didn't offer essential everyday products, and consumer experience fell short of expectations. This led to extremely low repeat purchases, and once media reports exposed quality issues, consumer interest plummeted. China is currently facing consumption downgrade, with people tightening their belts. Who has the luxury to buy impractical items? The initial popularity of these stores was partly due to the visual impact of the physical stores. For many, it was their first time seeing a store full of Russian products and Russian-style decorations. However, after trying the products, many were disappointed and lost interest. Now, for most people, online shopping is cheaper, more convenient, and saves time. Familiar products are usually purchased online. Many offline stores that rely on imported products are struggling and closing down, and ordinary stores are even more difficult to maintain. In Shanghai, China's economic hub, numerous stores have shut down, and the once bustling pedestrian streets are now nearly empty. On July 7th, a blogger posted a video showing the once bustling Xinyuan Street in Shanghai nearly deserted. Xinyuan was once thriving. Online videos from 2019 and 2020 show that the street was full of people. Who would have thought that just a few years later, this street would be empty? The video shows that most of the storefronts have been sitting empty for a long time. A sanitation worker said that he had worked there for several years. He said, "It used to be very busy here, but now there are fewer people. Business is bad, and many stores have closed." The worker added, "Before the pandemic, the pedestrian street was thriving, but now, due to the poor economic environment, there are fewer people and business is tough. Chinese people have no money left in their pockets, and it's hard to make money." A female clothing shop owner said that the overall economy is sluggish. Not just this street, but all of Shanghai is like this. The blogger noticed that at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, the KFC near the entrance of Xinyuan Road had no customers at all. The blogger remarked, "KFC, a global chain, usually chooses locations with a lot of foot traffic, but this time there was not a single customer inside." Some netizens said, "It's mainly due to the pandemic causing the economy to decline. Many factories moved away, and Shanghai is very exclusionary. They pushed away people from other places, and the lower-end businesses relied on them for consumption. If they're gone, how can businesses survive?" This is the pedestrian street in the outer ring of Changsha, which used to be a very prosperous place. Now it's completely deserted and has turned into a parking lot. On July 15th, the same blogger posted another video, showing that while Nanjing Road pedestrian street in Shanghai still had a lot of foot traffic, most of the people were tourists from other regions, and few actually entered the stores to shop. A netizen left a comment saying, "Most people are just window shopping. There's a lot of foot traffic, but not much real consumption." Analysts pointed out that the primary consumers of Russian goods stores were people from outside Shanghai, with few locals visiting. Even when they did visit, it was mostly out of curiosity, and they rarely made purchases. Many people from other regions have left Shanghai this year, which is one of the reasons why Russian stores have closed. Furthermore, the closure of many Russian stores may be also linked to the chain franchise fraud schemes.
Recently, the story of Mr. Zhang from Hangzhou has been widely discussed in the business world. He invested over 1 million yuan into 3 Russian goods stores, but the longest lasted only 6 months, and the shortest closed in just 3 months. The unsold purple sugar and Matryoshka dolls on the shelves became the most ironic souvenirs from his sentimental business venture. At the end of last year, Mr. Zhang decided to open the stores after the franchise manager sent him screenshots of other franchises earning 100,000 yuan a month. Plus, his neighbor Wang had opened 2 stores, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt he couldn't fall behind. So he spent 1.08 million yuan and opened stores in Hangzhou, Nanjing, and Suzhou. The first month of business was indeed bustling. The Hangzhou store sold 60,000 yuan on its opening day, and there were long lines outside the Nanjing store. Even Mr. Zhang thought he had chosen the right business opportunity. But the turning point came too quickly. Customers soon realized that the so-called Russian chocolate, which cost 38 yuan, was the same domestic product found online for just 25 yuan. The so-called imported Russian bread, belish, had made in China labels on its packaging. Even Russian tourists laughed out loud when they saw Russian durian candy, saying, "We don't even produce this in our country." What's worse, many competitors opened up nearby. As soon as Mr. Zhang's stores opened, 5 similar stores popped up on the same street. They all competed with Russian flags and played Russian songs, which only led to price wars. By the third month, the combined daily sales of the 3 stores was less than 5,000 yuan, which wasn't even enough to cover rent. When Mr. Zhang tried to get a refund from the franchise headquarters, he discovered that the contract stated that the stock couldn't be refunded or exchanged. The franchise manager, who had promised everything, was now unreachable.
One netizen pointed out, no matter what's being sold, franchise stores popping up everywhere are just cutting the franchisees like weed. The blogger shared an even more outrageous story from a Shanghai franchisee, who didn't even know where Russia was on the map. Because there was a long line outside a Russian goods store downstairs, he threw 150,000 yuan into the franchise fee. But when the imported cookies arrived, the Russian text on the packaging was full of machine translation errors. This was all part of the business trap. Franchisees also had one fatal flaw. They trusted the Chinese government and authorities too much. The blogger said that Mr. Zhang hesitated at first, but the franchise headquarters presented certificates from certain associations and photos of officials visiting the stores, and he immediately believed it. The headquarters' most effective tactic was tying the sale of products to supporting Russia. Employees were trained with a script saying that buying these goods was supporting old friends and promoting the government stance. Questioning the origin of the products was seen as not trusting the government. Eventually, the Shanghai Market Supervision Bureau investigated 47 stores and found that 38% of the products didn't meet standards, 25% of the cosmetics had excessive heavy metals, and 80% of the so-called imported products had barcodes starting with 69, meaning they were made in China. Even the Russian embassy had to clarify there were only 6 official certified stores in China. Once consumers realized they were paying a high price for domestic products, they stopped coming. One netizen commented, the rise and rapid decline of the Russian goods store was a huge scam, with the government being the mastermind. The 6 officially certified stores are the ones executing the scam, and only they made money. The rest of the customers and franchisees were victims. The franchisees, especially those who joined later, are the ones who suffered the most. It's said that some people who invested not long ago are still holding on, hoping there will be a surge in business by the end of the year to cover some of their losses. But their outcome will likely be that they end up losing even more money. One of the main reasons they were duped is that they had been brainwashed by the Chinese Communist Party for years, believing that supporting Russia in the war was patriotic. They also saw the large number of people supporting Russia in CCP media, and thought that these Russian fans would be enough to support their patriotic business venture. However, they severely misjudged the situation. The number of people who support Russia's war, rather than just Russian products, is far smaller than they imagined. And those who do support Russia are often the lowest income groups with little to no purchasing power. The support of these Russian fans is mostly limited to keyboard activism. Relying on them for support was doomed from the start.